Thanks for joining us for the City of Maple Grove Report. I'm Dave Kaiser from CCX Media, along with Heidi Nelson, Maple Grove City Administrator. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
We have a long council meeting to talk about, but we want to start first on a sad note with the tragic violence that had happened over the past weekend as we record this in mid-June. Again, the city's thoughts and feelings and response and involvement.
Yeah, tough weekend for Maple Grove and for our neighbors in Brooklyn Park and Champlin and New Hope. Just unspeakable tragedy that was hard to believe in the early hours of Saturday morning that could possibly be unfolding in our communities. So we just extend our condolences to the family of Speaker Emerita Portman and her husband Mark, and her to her children and her family and all that loved Melissa Hortman, and then for Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette, that they continue on the road to recovery. It's really a remarkable story of what happened there and that they've survived. So very impactful to everybody, I think, in the state of Minnesota, and in particular up here in the northwest part of the metro, where we all know these local legislators and work with them on an annual basis during the legislative session. And so very, very difficult weekend for everybody. A huge debt of gratitude to the law enforcement up here between Champlin, Brooklyn Park. We had a lot of officers over there right away on Saturday or in the early hours of Saturday morning supporting, and then throughout the weekend. And there's always, the worry of their safety as well in doing this type of work. So just a tragedy all the way around, very unsettling, a very sad time. And so we'll continue to do the good work up here with law enforcement and just continue to pray for the Hortman family and for the Hoffmans and find a new path to move forward.
The mayor started the council meeting on the 16th with a moment of silence as well, and you had a few special guests at the council meeting as well. Scheduled updates from a senator and representative from the area, and they obviously had lots of passion and things to share as they spoke.
Yeah, so we had Senator Limmer and Representative Robbins scheduled to come into that meeting and just provide a legislative update. And so this week, coming off this weekend, just a very difficult time for them and their legislative colleagues. And so some good comments provided there. They did provide an update on the legislative session, which all seems rather in the rear view now and not as important. But just a great outcome for Maple Grove at the legislative session. We did receive our TIF extension for the gravel mining area TIF district. This is where you see all the development happening south of Elm Creek Boulevard, kind of east of Lowe's and Costco there, and then up to 169. So gives us another 5 years to bring projects into that district, and then another 5 years of increment available to help support industry. So that's a big move for Maple Grove to get that timeline extension. Right. In the same area, we received some dollars through the transportation bill directed to MnDOT to advance the 169 Elm Creek Boulevard interchange project. This has been a top priority for us for a couple years, but it got even to be a higher priority with the bridge strike last summer. And so this allows this project to kind of move full steam ahead with this additional funding from MnDOT. Anticipating maybe a late summer, early fall start next year to this project. Still working out some final details on layout and getting through all of the design environmental processes there. But this will be a kind of a drop the bridge and construct it back up type of scenario, so that connection between Maple Grove and Brooklyn Park will be down for probably close to a year there. So pretty impactful project, but so needed to see that infrastructure improved at that intersection, and important to the development that's happening in the gravel mining area. And then the last piece was some language on the bonding that we received in 2023. The language change allowed for those dollars to be used towards construction as well as planning and design. So that allows us to make use of that the full $6 million for the community center project. So just some great outcomes for Maple Grove here, and really good to connect with Senator Limmer and Representative Robbins last night and just check in with them and how they're doing. And so, yeah, good to have them in the House.
Very good. All right. We'll get back to more of the council meeting in just a second, but let's hop to the earlier meeting on the 16th, and that was a work session to talk about the alcohol policy for private rentals at some popular places in the city of Maple Grove.
Yeah, so this is something that a number of other communities have done, is to provide some flexibility for kind of beer and wine at private events that are being held at like Fino Pavilion over at Central Park, or the Town Green Meeting Room, where sort of the organizer of the event or the renter of the space would be responsible, sign a waiver, be responsible for that beer and wine service there. The city wouldn't, it's not to be sold, it's just, kind of providing, if you have a birthday party or something, that type of thing. So we needed to make an amendment to our code, because our code currently requires a certificate of insurance, licensed provider, that type of thing. And so this will allow for some flexibility with that and allow private events to bring in kind of their own beer and wine and serve at that event, making sure everybody's over 21 and not overserved and all those types of things. So those will be covered in the event organizer's waiver that they have to sign. So good to get that discussed, and we'll get that back to the council on July 21 for that code amendment.
Speaking of the council, let's move ahead to that meeting, about an hour and a half long, one longer item towards the end of the meeting, which we'll get to, but one item pulled from consent, and that relates to the assessing department, and something we've talked about in recent programs as well. What was this part on the consent agenda?
Yeah, so this all stems from the change at Hennepin County to offer cities the opportunity to shift their assessing services to the county at no cost to the city. It would be reflected in the county levy cost. So this is something that has been going on, this discussion's been going on for about the past year. We went through the process, I think at our last meeting, to approve that agreement with Hennepin County, that service agreement. So that is all in place now. So what this item on Monday night really had to do with was kind of the separation package for those employees. The licensed appraisers are going to have an opportunity potentially to go work for Hennepin County. There will be a process for them to look at that opportunity to work at Hennepin County in a similar role. And then we have a couple of admin staff that would be impacted by this shift to the county, and working through that with them in terms of that separation agreement. So that kind of wraps up the council's actions with regard to this change in assessing, and we'll be working through that over the next year. The official date of transition is July 1 of 26, so we're about a year out from that right now. So more to come as we make that transition. We'll be out communicating to residents, what does next year's Board of Appeal process look like. We have the opportunity to go to more of an open book process, which has the, residents have the opportunity to come in and meet with the assessor over a longer period of time. So we'll be looking at those options yet this fall, and then start making those shifts as we get into the new year.
Very good. More to come. We'll follow that as it moves along. Next in the meeting were the special presentations by the senator and representative, which we talked about earlier, and then to a trio of public hearings. The first related to a longtime business with a little change in name and ownership. Yeah,
so just a change in ownership for Buca de Beppo right there on Main Street. So anytime that happens, they have to come in and kind of, this is our renewal time for liquor licenses anyways, but they kind of had to go through the new process for a new liquor license with the new ownership.
Next public hearing on a project for 6 homes in the area, Elm Creek Vista project. Give us an update on what this is happening.
Yeah, so this is down in the Elm Road area, about 6 lots there that are going to be developed. So, and then we also have the Ridge at Elm Creek, which is another 20 lots. So kind of all down in the same Elm Road area, just sort of kind of like infill development in there. There's some other, existing homes that have sold to the developer for redevelopment. So these projects will be forward with their infrastructure in the coming weeks.
Very good. That was the public hearings. Now to community and economic development items. One item tabled, Ivy Brook Academy. That will be coming back on July 21st.
Yep.
Next is Culver's. We've talked about Culver's, and this process is moving ahead.
Yeah, so out at 101 Bass Lake Road, a welcome addition out there for Culver's. So yeah, we've been awaiting this one, so that'll get under construction hopefully yet this year out at 101 and Bass Lake Road.
And we followed that through the planning process as well. And now another one that has been through that process, MGM Maple Grove. Again, they are looking to put on an addition.
Yeah, so MGM Maple Grove, this is up off of County Road 30. The owners of the Tandoor Indian Cuisine own this MGM liquor store, and so they're going to be moving the Tandoor Indian Cuisine into that new space that they're creating in the MGM building. So this one got approved and likely see some construction yet this year as well.
All right, so many of those items through recent Planning Commission meetings. Now let's look ahead to the next one coming up on June 30th and a full agenda.
Yeah, so June 30th, Planning Commission, an exciting one, the new Lifetime Fitness Club up by the hospital, kind of just due west of Home Depot there, so good to see that moving forward. We have a 76-lot subdivision for single-family homes up in the northwest quadrant. This is being brought forward by Pulte. Northern Tap House will be in for kind of their patio and facade changes there. And then Arbor Lakes Business Park, we have a building. It'll be just kind of north of the Opus project there, BAE Systems. It's kind of behind what used to be R.R. Donnelly. It's LSC Communications now. So they're kind of taking the back half of that lot and selling that off for another building. So that one's being led by R.J. Ryan.
A lot of activity in the city, no doubt. Engineering Public Works, quick update here. Lake Quality Commission, update provided here. Lots of discussion going on.
Yeah, Lake Quality Commission is talking about lake regulations when it comes to boat use, other recreational uses. So this has a lot of interest in this topic on our lakes here in Maple Grove. So anticipate a large discussion again tomorrow night. They've moved the meeting down to the Emergency Operations Center, lower level of the Government Center. Yeah, lots of interest in this issue about boat regulations on the lakes.
Next, administrative items, a few to touch on here that involved a little more discussion. Maple Grove Performing Arts Center, Avalanche Arts has been talking with the city and give us an update of what happened here.
Yeah, so this is Shane and Danielle Vinup. We started our conversations with them probably almost 2 years ago with their interest in building a performing arts center here in Maple Grove. They had been looking for potential sites and came to the city to talk with us about kind of the southern parcel across from the library, the ones right along Main Street that the city owns there, and the potential for the city to sort of partner with them in a long-term land lease to build a performing arts center there. So worked through, a lot of the details about how that might work, kind of put everything together in a letter of intent. It's kind of a precursor to a lease, so we don't, go forward and spend a lot of time and dollars on a lease document, but rather sort of outline what the terms and conditions would look like and get agreement on those before we proceed with the lease document. So this one got approved. I think a great use for that corner, brings another element of the arts into Maple Grove. We know there's a lot of cross-community players, other types of organizations in Bunce Backyard Productions that are in the area that are always looking for performance space. So this would be primarily focused on sort of music and theater performance, maybe some rooms for music lessons, those types of things. They have a nonprofit created, Avalanche Arts, but they would run everything under the nonprofit. So kind of a quasi-public type thing, but yeah. So. Really excited for this one to come to Main Street. I think it's going to be a great addition and a nice opportunity for the arts to grow here in Maple Grove.
What is the timing? Is there any idea of where this is in the process and what pieces still need to fall into place? Yeah,
so having this LOI in place really allows them to go forward and formalize more of their fundraising efforts. They are putting in some of their own dollars into this effort. This was sort of, I think, Danielle's dream is to have this performing arts center. And so they are bringing some of their own funds to it, but now they're going to go out and fundraise, look for grants, those types of things. And so having this letter of intent in place kind of helps them to move forward with that. And then we will start to now formulate kind of that lease document and what that might look like to formalize that relationship on the real estate.
Good. We will keep that up to date as we move along. One final item that was discussed is the PUPS expansion reinvestment project, and this was one of the longer items of the meeting. Give us a little background and then the discussion that took place.
Yeah, so this is our PUPS facility, Pets Under Police Supervision.
Right.
It's up off of 89th, right around our Public Works campus. Some folks don't even realize that it's there. It's kind of tucked back in the trees.
Right.
But a really critical piece for law enforcement, for public safety in the Northwest Metro. So we serve 6 other communities in this facility up here in the Northwest Metro. It has been in place since 1991. So many years of service. We haven't really done a whole lot with the facility during that time. And so not only is there kind of some deferred maintenance or just, some reinvestment that's needed to update HVAC, and just some of the working spaces are getting kind of worn out. But in addition to that, we have been many times at capacity in this facility, or over capacity, having to close it down to additional animals. And I think, part of it is when this facility opened, we were about 230,000 population in the cities that are served, and today we're about 330,000 in population that's served. And I think, a lot more dogs out there in the world, and cats and animals, and so I think just the population growth in general is driving kind of the need to reinvest and expand this facility. So, and it's sometimes a facility that folks don't think a whole lot about, right? It's kind of like, oh, that sort of happens in the background, and so it's been a challenge in terms of having to prioritize these dollars to reinvest in this facility and pay for its expansion. But project that's being presented today is about a $7.8 million investment. It almost doubles our kennel capacity for dogs, and that's projected to take us all the way through 2050 with the growth of those communities that we serve. And then Maple Grove's cost of that 7.8 is about 1.1 million. Our partners carry a significant portion of the capital cost, a significant portion of the operating cost of this facility. So for each one of those cities to have their own facility would be very costly, much more costly than what we do together here. This way we're sort of able to share those operational costs and those facility costs amongst 7 different cities, 6, 7 different cities. So yeah, it's a project we've been working on and wringing our hands about a little bit. Every city has, and having to prioritize those dollars. But council did approve this to go forward. So, basically all the cities that are part of the JPA would have to agree to this. If we have some cities that say, no, we're out, we're going to go try to figure out our own thing for animal control, then we'd sort of have to go back to the drawing board and come up with, well, okay, what does that project look like now without those partners with us? Not an easy problem to solve out there. There's not a lot of vet clinics that are, able or interested in doing this type of service for a community on a very long-term basis. So that can get to be a challenge, particularly if you have a large number of animals that you're seeing in your community. That can really be a barrier to that. So we'll see where everybody else comes out on this. The story's not over. We'll see how our neighbors come down on this. But yeah, it was good to get the council's support behind this, and then we'll continue to move it forward.
Last couple items from the meeting on the 16th. You had a few updates of dates for the calendar. First was Wednesday the 18th, I-94 with a special event. Yeah,
so this is the I-94 West Chamber Circle of Excellence Awards. That's going to be held up at the Crown Room in Rogers on Wednesday, June 18th from 3 to 6 p.m.
And then on the 19th, Juneteenth, a big event going on, and city offices closed.
Yeah, so that's a state holiday now, so the city offices are closed that day, but we do have our annual Juneteenth celebration. celebration. It's at Town Green from 5 to 9 p.m. Program at 6:30 p.m. There's a vendor fair, kids activities, food and beverages, and lots of entertainment. So encourage people to come out that evening.
So there's your recap of the meeting on the 16th. We'll tell you about the next meeting in just a few moments, which is over a month away, believe it or not. So that information in just a second. Now to some other things happening around town while we're talking about days that the city offices are closed. Let's hop ahead way to July 4th. Tell us about that date for the city.
Yeah, so it's always fun when a holiday falls on the Friday,
yes.
you know, because when it falls on Thursday, then it's like Friday. How do you come back for that? So This year we're blessed with the Friday, July 4th holiday, so city offices will be closed. Just a reminder, we don't have 4th of July fireworks in Maple Grove. Those are part of our Maple Grove Day celebration that is running from July 16th to the 20th this year. So fireworks are Saturday night, July 19th, and just a note, everything is moving to Central Park this year.
Got it. More about that in just a few minutes. And again, the next council meeting on the 7th will be canceled, and so the next meeting would be on the 21st. And again, we'll remind you of that at the end of the program. Let's talk a little bit more about other things happening and population. So the city partners with others to keep track of population. What are the numbers? What are we seeing?
Yeah, so Metropolitan Council tracks population through with the state demographer's office every year. So Maple Grove just got its new population data. We stand at 71,988 residents, so just shy of 72,000, with a total of 29,767 housing units. So with this new data, Maple Grove is officially the 11th largest city in the state of Minnesota by population.
How about that? All right, more stats to pass along here. How about stats on Park and Ride? What has the city found out recently? This is a busy spot in town.
Yeah, so another Metropolitan Council measure that they do, its annual Park and Ride facility survey. So once again, the Maple Grove Transit Station ranked as the most utilized Park and Ride in the 7-county metro area. In 2024, it averaged 430 vehicles per day. The Parkway Station up on the north side, a little bit less use, ranked about 11th with 109 vehicles per day. So other stations with high usage are more on the south side with Burnsville, Apple Valley, and the Southwest Station, Eden Prairie, but shows some good transit ridership up here in Maple Grove.
Very good. We've talked in the past couple shows about the photo contest that continues on. Give us a quick reminder of why you want people taking some photos.
Yeah, so the city's annual photo contest is open through June 30th. All the details are on the city website. Lots of photo apps here. We have Chalk Fest, we have the Juneteenth celebration, the Arbor Lakes Art Fair is coming up this weekend, and then
Maple Grove Days.
Well, that'll be a little bit past June 30th, but lots of fun events coming up to capture those pictures. So that's open through June 30th. And then everything gets submitted online. And then just as a reminder, we use all these photos in our various publications and social media.
Let's talk firefighters. A couple updates on the firefighters. First, graduates. You had quite a few.
Yeah, so we had 11 Maple Grove students graduate from the West Suburban Fire Academy last week. There was a ceremony held at the Plymouth Community Center. So kind of a unique, we do a lot of things together up here in the Northwest Metro, and I think that's really great for us to all collaborate and not have everybody have their own of everything. So the West Suburban Fire Academy is made up of the cities of Golden Valley, Maple Grove, Plymouth, and the West Metro Fire District, which serves the cities of Crystal and New Hope. This year's graduating class overall was 18 students. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's the largest graduating class in the history of the Academy, which is 18 years. So yeah, so a great class this year. It's about 300 hours of orientation and coursework with countless hours of studying and preparation as they train to become firefighters. And then once they finish this, they become probationary firefighters, and they will be qualified for internal structural firefighting. So it's a pretty big rite of passage as becoming a firefighter, and which leads right into our firefighter recruitment. So we're looking for that next class of people.
Perfect.
Great way to serve your community. So if you live within 5 minutes of one of our 5 fire stations and you're over 18, you're eligible to apply. No experience is necessary. We provide all the training, equipment, uniforms. All you need is time, motivation, and an interest to serve your community. So we have one last informational meeting coming up. It's Monday, June 23rd at 7 p.m. Fire Station 5 off of Maple Grove Parkway. Great time to chat with some firefighters, understand what this might mean for you. Bring your family.
Yeah.
Being a firefighter is kind of a family commitment. So mgfire.info for more information.
All right, and here's a fun thing that the fire department, along with the police department, get to do each year. It is the Summer Safety Fair. Give us the details of this fun event for families.
Yeah, so this is being held Thursday, June 26th from 5 to 7:30 p.m. It's at Fire Station 2, right off of Elm Creek Boulevard. Okay. Lots of hands-on activities, interactive demos, exhibitors, emergency vehicles close-up, some refreshments. 5 to 7:30, Thursday, June 26th at Fire Station 2.
A lot happening as well at Town Green in the city on a regular basis here. Remind us again of some of the fun things that people can find there throughout the summer.
Yeah, so we're coming up on our Sounds of Summer entertainment series at Town Green. Music performances are at 7 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays. Okay. Kid, family-friendly entertainment is offered Thursday at 10:30 a.m. and then the Friday night movies start on July 14th, the week of Maple Grove Days. Just to mention, on the Wednesday nights is the Foods and Grooves series. This is the Mick Sterling concert series, right, sponsored by Maple Grove Rotary. Your Rotarians will be out there cooking and serving up food and beverage, and then providing lots of information about the work of Rotary in the community. So that's great to have that. They're well-attended and well-loved concerts on those Wednesday nights at Town Green.
Speaking of the Rotary, when they're not busy with the concerts, they're busy working on pollinators in town. Tell us about this unique project.
Yeah, so this is located in the northwestern area of Central Park. The garden is currently under development, and it was planted just a few weeks ago. Volunteers from the Maple Grove Rotary Club, the Arbor Committee, residents of Applewood Point assisted Parks and Recreation staff in the planting effort, so it's really kind of a community effort. It's an idea generated by the city's participation in the Mayor's Pollinator Pledge, so really looking forward to how this garden comes to life over the coming weeks.
All right, a lot of events coming up here as well as we head through June and into July, so get your calendars out. Next is the Farmers Market happening on a regular basis. Again, remind us where and what's out there at the market these days.
Yeah, so Farmers Market continues up at Church of the Open Door every Thursday from 3 to 7 p.m. Produce is really starting to roll in. We've had a lot of rain this spring, so I think things are growing well. So encourage folks to visit the Farmers Market. You
mentioned a little earlier the Arbor Lakes Art Fair. Again, remind us about that event, what that is, and where people can go.
Yeah, so this is the art fair done by the Maple Grove Arts Center, and so this shifting to this coming weekend has been in the past been part of Maple Grove Days, but they're shifting to this weekend of June 21 and 22. A wide variety of artists and items available there. You'll find the art fair at the shop at Arbor Lakes. Hours on Saturday are 10 to 6 and 11 to 4 on Sunday. And again, just thanks to the Maple Grove Arts Center for coordinating this event.
Also, time to get on your calendar the Cross Community Players. They're getting ready for a big performance for you. What's coming up this year and where?
Yeah, so Cross Community Players presents the musical comedy Once Upon a Mattress. It's a retelling of a fairy tale, The Princess and the Pea. Show runs the next 2 weekends at Town Green with some afternoon and evening options. Visit crossplayers.org for tickets and showtime information.
All right, a couple things related to Maple Grove Days. First, the Ambassador Program. They are in full swing right now.
Yeah, so it's really fun. We had them at the Government Center last week. We had a sponsor luncheon before that, so that's been really fun. 13 ambassador candidates this year, and so that's a great boon for the program. And so lots of events coming up over the next month, and they'll be on to coronation during Maple Grove Days. Just note, it is going to be at Maple Grove Middle School this year because of the construction taking place up at the high school.
Got it.
So encourage people to check that out.
Speaking of Maple Grove Days, give us again the quick overview of all the fun that's coming up in July.
Yeah, so lots of preparation underway for Maple Grove Days. We're about a month out from this event being underway. Kicks off with the parade on Thursday evening along 89th Avenue. Fireworks on Saturday night. Just a reminder, everything shifts over to Central Park this year. So because of the construction at the community center, everything is Central Park bound. So mgco.org for all of that information.
All right, we're packing your half hour here. Final 30 seconds, National Night Out. We want you to get this looking ahead and start planning with your neighbors. What is the date this year?
Yeah, National Night Out is Tuesday, August 5th. We encourage folks folks to get in touch with the police department if you have a neighborhood party that you need to sign up. Not to be missed is the kickoff event August 5th from 11 to 1 at Central Park. Just one last note, just great appreciation for the law enforcement that have served over the last 5 days here in the Northwest Metro. It's been a heavy lift, and I hope they get some rest in the week ahead. But great appreciation, and good on National Night Out to thank them for all the work that they do to help keep our community safe.
Very well said. All right, that is it. We're going to wrap quickly here because we used up all the time. Next council meeting again is coming up in July on the 21st will be the date, 7:30 at the Government Center. And again, maplegrovemn.gov for more information about events going on. For Heidi Nelson, I'm Dave Kaiser. Thanks for joining us on the City of Maple Grove Report.